Hey guys, it's Josh here at Fortner's Frontier Leather and Modern Frontiersman. For those of you who are subscribers at Modern Frontiersman and don't know, I'm a leather worker. I have another channel, Fortner's Frontier Leather, and a business where I make handcrafted leather gear like this holster that I just finished up. This is a double shoulder holster. I'll show that more to y'all in a minute. But if you're a subscriber at Fortner's Frontier Leather, and you don't know, I have another channel, Modern Frontiersman, where I talk about preparedness and self-reliance, and I try to promote these things with both of these outlets, with both of these channels and endeavors, if you will. But like I said, I just finished up this holster, and I was thinking about something while I was finishing this. As you can see, it's adjustable in the back. Has this D-ring. This is a custom one. This is not one of my regular listings. Guy wanted two holsters, and he wanted it to be modular, where he could take one off if he didn't want to carry both. These holsters are for heritage bar keeps. So what I did was made these holsters detachable by using Chicago screws on the top here. And another thing that would be really cool is he can take one of these off and say he wanted to replace them with a 1911. All he's got to do is message me, shoot me the payment, and I'll make him a 1911 holster that can then be put on, and he can use this same harness, which is pretty cool if you ask me. But I was thinking about something, something that's not talked about a lot in preparedness. And by the way, I will be posting this video on both channels because I want to, because it is about leather work and it is about preparedness. For me, in my situation, those two are kind of inseparable because of what I'm about to talk about. One thing that's not talked about enough is jobs in SHTF. Everybody, like I always say, everybody wants to talk about the pew pew stuff and all the tactical stuff and even food storage and things like that. There's these ongoing, constant themes, but you don't see a lot of people talking about work, about what you do for a job in a SHTF event, whatever that might be. And like I talked about in the last video, what is that? It could mean something different at different times and for different people. But either way, you need a way to feed your family, a way to support your family. Um, and I think that traditional crafts are something that you should look into. Traditional trades, things that have been done for hundreds of years, if not thousands of years. Leathercraft, for example, probably the oldest craft that exists. If it wasn't for leatherwork, people probably would not have survived. If they were not able to make clothing to keep themselves warm out of animal skins and things like that, we would have had a really hard time throughout history. But if you were interested in metalworking in some way, and you're used to using any kind of power tools and things like that, as I've said before, I would recommend and I would advise that you start learning how to do some more traditional blacksmithing. Learn how to do these things without the modern conveniences. If you're into woodwork and you use power tools, perhaps you want to look into traditional woodworking, just using knives and draw knives and things like that. Like I've talked about that before as well. Leatherwork, for me, this entire shop is this. I can cut the power off. I mean, the only thing that's powered in here is lights. That's it. There's nothing else. I have no machinery whatsoever. It's all done by hand. And those who are subscribed over to Fortner's Frontier Leather know that because I've done a lot of videos on me making things there. And that's the great thing that I love about my business. I have these old tools. This awl. It's used by hand to punch every single one of these stitching holes. I punch all the stitching holes by hand and then stitch them by hand. No sewing machines. They are marked before I punch them with this old stitching wheel. These are old C.S. Osborne tools. dated 1903. So really cool antique tools. They're over 100 years old and they still work good, if not better than brand new tools. Straps are cut out with a hand tool, strap cutter. The edges, they're beveled by hand with one of these edge bevelers. Then they're slicked down with a wooden edge burnisher. The belt tips, they're all cut out by hand with these belt tip cutters. Basically, you put it on the end of your strap and hit it with a hammer, with a mallet, and punch those holes out, or punch those belt tips out. Everything in this shop is done by hand. A lot of people have suggested to me, "Oh, you should get a machine. You should, you could be so much faster and more efficient if you had a sewing machine and this and this and that." Yeah, I could, but I will never do that. I will never put a machine in this shop. One is because when I started it, I wanted to preserve that quality handcrafted craftsmanship. And two, I don't want to get used to using machines. I want to get better and better and better at doing it with my hands, the old fashioned way. Because even if the power goes out, even if everything is shut down, the supply chain stop, I can still do this work. All this leather you see behind me here, I have a lot of hides here. There's more over in the corner. I've got elk skins, deer skins, all kind of stuff. But if the supply chain stopped, like right now, I'm having trouble getting keeping leather in stock. I'm getting it. It's taken like 4 to 6 weeks, if not more, for me to get the leather. That's okay. It would make things harder on me if those supply chains completely stopped, but I could still do the work because I know how to tan hides as well. I know how to create leather. It would be a lot more work on me, but it could be done. And one thing about that is I would suggest involving your entire family in your business, in your craft, and whatever it is you're doing. Because what could be done, say for a leather worker in my case, there's a lot that has to be done. There's a lot that goes into making the leather and a lot that goes into turning that leather into products and all that stuff. So say you had 2 sons, you could have them outside tanning hides, or have somebody that's going to get the hides from a butcher or somebody that owns the cattle that killed them for meat. Then you could go have somebody go get those hides, bring them back. Your sons are out there doing the work to tan those hides. Then they bring them in, and you could cut everything out, punch all the holes, do all the manual labor on producing the items. Then say your wife and your daughters could be stitching the things up, and then whoever you're selling them to could come by and pick them up, or one of you could bring it to them in trade for food or whatever. That's how I would do it. Have your whole family involved. And if you look back at families and households in the past, that's what you see. Houses were not just a place where you come home from work and kick back on the recliner and watch TV and fall asleep. Houses, homes back then were centers of economic activity, and they were little factories. You could have an entire extended family packed into one little house doing all kind of work, cooking for other people, cooking things to sell to people, making clothes, doing leather work, you name it. Households were a place of work, family working together, and I think that made stronger families. Unfortunately, we don't see that so much today, and I think it'd be really good for our society if families would start working more together, working hard together, and building that stronger relationship and that stronger family unit. I've been talking to my wife a lot over the past week or so about that, trying to involve the kids and her more in the work around, like say splitting the firewood and things like that, even in the leather work. Hopefully my daughter here soon, she's getting older, a little bit older. I think she'll be able to understand some of this stuff a little bit better, and I want to involve her in Fortner's Frontier Leather, and then my son as well when he gets bigger. But I just want to encourage everybody to look into traditional crafts, things that have been done for hundreds of years that can still be done today and can still be done if the lights go out. can still be done in any level of SHTF situation. Like I've said, for me, a lot of things I can do with the skills I have in leatherwork. I can fix people's shoes, obviously make holsters, belts for people, um, all kind of stuff. I have archery arm guards I'm working on now as well. I have all those straps back there. I could make reins for horses if we ended up in a horse-drawn society again. Um, I can make bags. I have this bag hanging up here. This bag is actually for purchase right now in my Etsy shop. Um, but there's so many things I could do with the skills I have in leatherwork. People need their bags fixed. Their clothes. I'm skilled with hand stitching. There's so many things that can go into that. Same with many other crafts. I just want to encourage you to look at traditional crafts and possibly consider getting into them, and it might could even supplement your income now, and then serve you very well if we were to end up in a depression or something like that. So that's all I got for you today. As always, stay self reliant.